It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be speaking on Young Thug's new indictment and the biggest snitch inside of YSL. While things are looking bad enough for Atlanta rapper Young Thug, his case just took a turn for the worst after a new indictment was announced. Arrested back in May of 2022, Thug was one of 28 people indicted under a 56-count Georgia state RICO.
Damn.
Accused of racketeering and participation in criminal street gang activity, Young Thug has been identified as one of 3 founders of YSL, short for Young Slime Life. What many thought of as just a rap label would be described by law enforcement as one of Atlanta's deadliest street gangs with ties to the nationally known Sex Money Murder Gang, a subset of the Bloods. After Thug's arrest, his house will be subject to a search that recovered drugs and a machine gun, leading to 6 additional charges, 3 of which were drug related and the other 3 weapons related. These charges will be used in an additional indictment that was filed on August 5th. Since news broke of the YSL takedown, it became less of a question if anyone was going to snitch, but more so a matter of who and when. In the days following Young Thug's additional indictment, paperwork hit the internet faster than a celebrity sex tape, accusing one of YSL's shooters of snitching. A blurry picture would make its way through social media, and if anyone squinted their eyes hard enough to read it, it would state a man named Kenneth Copeland, who's more commonly known as Lil Woody, was a witness in the murder of 26-year-old Donovan Thomas, aka Peanut, a high-ranking Inglewood family blood.
You wanna be right here, nigga? I got one of the biggest bloods in America with me, my nigga. You did. Atlanta, Georgia, nigga.
Morning, the search is on for the person who shot 3 people, including a 14-year-old. 1 man died.
All 3 victims, including a 14-year-old, were brought here to Grady Memorial Hospital, and 26-year-old Donovan Thomas was in the most serious condition, and the medical examiner's office confirmed he did not survive.
A significant injury. We had at least multiple gunshots in the upper torso area. He was rushed to surgery.
Thomas died at the hospital. Homicide detectives looked for bullet holes and brought in a police canine to search for more shell casings. They believe it was a drive-by shooting.
That's the word that we're getting. We're trying to see if we can get any type of video to verify that.
According to the DA, this murder was said to have caused 37 violent acts of retaliation, including 4 murders. His death would make rappers choose sides, and as the war between Inglewood family and YSL let loose, this would also be ground zero for the criminal indictment. Kenneth Copeland, aka Lil Woody, was one of multiple witnesses who saw Young Thug at a McDonald's the night of the murder. Woody would tell investigators he was with Young Thug when Thug rented the car used in the drive-by triple shooting that sent fatal rounds through Peanut's chest. He told investigators he knew it was the one the suspects used and stated he was in the parking lot of a McDonald's immediately after the shooting. The McDonald's was 10 minutes away from the shooting scene, and Woody told investigators...
So basically, all I'm hearing is that nigga Thug is...
That
nigga Thug is fucked, bro.
Watch Young Thug drive his white Jeep into the parking lot as 4 men got out. He identified them as Scarface, Nard, SB, and Yak Gotti. Scarface would get into Woody's car where he told Woody they just killed Nut. Multiple witnesses stated immediately after the shooting, Young Thug and the suspected shooters would meet at his condo where they packed their bags and headed to Miami. All of these witness statements would easily be confirmed by detectives as cell phone records would show multiple suspects and gang members making calls to Young Thug before and after the murder. Using the same phone records, GPS coordinates told detectives the suspects relocated to Thug's condo in Midtown Atlanta. Multiple suspects, persons of interest, and gang members stated to detectives Young Thug was aware of the murder and even orchestrated it, as witnesses saw him near the murder scene just minutes after it happened and then at the McDonald's 10 minutes away. Paying close attention to the paperwork, it clearly states there were multiple witnesses, meaning Lil Woody wasn't the only snitch, but he may be the biggest snitch in YSL. Another picture of paperwork would find its way to the internet detailing an alleged interview Lil Woody
This is why you can't have so many niggas at a game, bro. They have like 30 niggas, bro. One nigga's go snitch, bro. like, you got 100%. Like, two people, 50-50. You're just splitting up the fucking percentage each time you have like 30 niggas.
Woody would be named as a victim, and on January 20th of 2020, he was arrested for violating probation and transported to the Fulton County Jail. Investigators obtained an order of production before transporting Woody to the police headquarters for an interview to discuss the recent shootings surrounding the death of Peanut. Surprisingly, Woody didn't give any details on the murder. Investigators decided to ask him about another drive-by in which he was the target and his child and girlfriend were present. Woody gave the name Tay as someone he recognized. Investigators showed him a photo lineup, specifically including a man named Octavius Franklin, a known associate of Peanut and member of the Inglewood family Bloods. Woody was unable to identify Tay, stating there was another Tay, but he didn't know his real name. Woody then said Tay has a brother named Wu, who was a well-known Blood. Investigators knew Wu as Javante Fleetwood, and further investigation would reveal his brother, Dalavante Fleetwood. A photo of Dalavante was shown to Woody, and Woody positively identified him as the one who shot at him. So according to these two pictures floating around social media, Lil Woody not only snitched on his own people for murdering Peanut, but he also snitched on the Inglewood family Bloods for trying to murder him. While many are already convinced Lil Woody is a rat, nobody else has been able to produce any of the paperwork or even a high quality picture of the paperwork, leaving some speculating it could be fake. But that's why y'all rocking with me, and you know I'm rocking with y'all. A 2016 search warrant for Lil Woody's iPhone would reveal new details of what started the war between Inglewood and YSL, confirm Woody is a snitch, and reveal another YSL member spoke with detectives.
Oh my god.
The current investigation states on January 10th, 2015, YSL member Shannon Jackson, aka
But like, what does this even do? Does this like lower their sentence? Like,
SB,
I like probably, yeah, they do fucking snitch. They probably, the cops like, oh, we'll give you a lower sentence or shit like that.
He stood in front of a barber shop.
Niggas.
Initially, this murder was said to be what started the war, but the investigation revealed 5 days prior to the murder of Peanut, an Inglewood family Blood named Kelvin Watts assaulted and attempted to rob YSL Woody at a nightclub.
Oh shit.
The Atlanta gang unit believed YSL took revenge on Inglewood family by murdering the big homie.
Damn.
Hours after Peanut was killed, Lil Woody's girlfriend's parents' house was shot up. Woody denied participating in the murder of Peanut, but how Inglewood family looked at it was he was the reason Peanut died. 6 months after the murder, Lil Woody would fold under pressure as he was the #1 target in the YSL Inglewood war. He'd admit to the lead detective he saw Peanut's killer SB along with Scarface, Yak Gotti, and Nard at McDonald's just after the
That nigga ugly as fuck
Woody was
too.
there to pick up Scarface.
That nigga got
and Scarface
that Ron
told
so
him they
cold
just
hairline.
killed. This would confirm the blurry picture of paperwork that made its way to social media.
Let me get some real quick. Shit. Should've done both lanes.
Video was real and that Lil Woody was a rat. Surprisingly, within the search warrant, it also states Scarface spoke with lead detective Thorpe. Scarface told detectives he was with Young Thug when Thug gave the other men the rental after Thug had spotted Peanut outside of the barbershop. Scarface also told detectives he saw the same rental at the McDonald's after the murder before getting into Woody's car.
Damn.
Further investigation revealed a possible financial motive for murdering Peanut. At the time, he was the manager of Atlanta rapper Rich Homie Quan, who Young Thug wanted to collab with. According to Peanut's family, Peanut and Rich Homie Quan had no desire to make the collab happen, and YSL members, including Young Thug, would attempt to aggressively pressure Rich Homie Quan into doing it, but Peanut wasn't going to let it happen. It's said that around this time, Peanut grew increasingly concerned for his safety in the month leading up to his death, as he believed Young Thug would send someone his way. Peanut's brother, who stood near him moments after he'd been shot, heard Peanut's last words: "Thug had me killed." February 19th, 2015. It had been 6 weeks since Peanut was murdered. Lil Woody walked out of his baby's mother's house carrying a car seat and his 8-month-old daughter. He was gonna take her to the hospital as she was having issues and suffering pain. Walking to the car, he saw a silver Pontiac a block away, and he thought it looked suspicious. As he's putting the baby in the car, the silver car starts approaching. His girlfriend and the mother of his daughter were already in the car as the window of the silver Pontiac began to lower and the barrel of an assault rifle started coming out. Lil Woody told detectives he saw Tay, now identified as Dalviante Fleetwood, as the one aiming the gun. That's when Lil Woody lifted his own .40 caliber Glock before ducking down as the two started exchanging gunfire. He'd grab his daughter, running her back into the house and placing her behind a wall before coming back out, aiming and firing at the vehicle. A total of 8 .40 caliber shell casings would be found at the scene, and the shooter's vehicle would crash into a house porch a block up from the shooting scene. The driver had panicked while being shot at, losing control and crashing. The shooter had been disarmed as a .40 caliber bullet struck the barrel of the rifle, going through it and destroying it, leaving the weapon unable to be fired. The men in the vehicle ran from the scene, and police interviewed Woody, who gave a full statement saying he was the target. Investigators believe this was the 4th time Woody, or those close to Woody, had been shot at since Peanut's death. Woody himself stated the word on the street was that he was responsible for Peanut. Hours after Peanut was killed, his girlfriend's mother's house was shot up with a .223 caliber rifle.
Oh my God.
And hours after that, his brother's neighbor's house was shot up. The shooters, realizing they made a mistake, went back after and shot up the brother's house. Woody was able to identify Tay as the shooter because he'd known him for a long time, and just 2 weeks before the shooting, Tay had been to his house to meet his 8-month-old daughter. A witness inside of the house the shooters crashed into was also able to identify Tay by a photo lineup. The shooter's vehicle belonged to a woman who told investigators her boyfriend Octavius Franklin, who's also known as Tay, was driving it. She also found it weird that he called her from a different number, saying she should report the car as stolen. Detectives noted the time he called was just after Woody was shot at. Octavius was another member of the Inglewood family Bloods, and according to his Facebook, a close friend of Nut.
I don't know, when people make like shit like this, bruh.
Now going back to the second picture of paperwork that hit the internet, it states the day after Woody was shot at, a woman called detectives saying Octavius Franklin had just called her. He told her he was driving down a road when someone started shooting at the car, causing him to crash and leave it at the scene. Inside of the car, police found 2 phones that belonged to Octavius and a broken .223 rifle across the street. Investigators believe 3 to 5 men were sitting inside of the car at the time of the shooting. An overwhelming amount of evidence led to Octavius and Dalviante's arrest, and while in jail, Octavius had his mother call the gang detective 4 to 5 times. He would call once, and his girlfriend would call 1 to 2 times, stating he wanted to give a statement to clear his name. Transported from the jail to police headquarters, Octavius would sign away his rights, and detectives would tell him he's facing a possible 25 years, so he needs to provide enough information to work off the 25. Octavius would go on to identify his co-defendant as being on scene, armed with a weapon, and fully explain how the shooting went down. Octavius would repeatedly ask what else he could do, and at one point even offered to wear a wire for the police. Detectives made it clear they want information on the murder of Peanut, which caused the war between the Bloods in Atlanta. Now it's clear YSL Lil Woody is a snitch. It's evident that YSL Scarface also spoke with detectives and identified everyone in the shooting of Peanut as being present that night, including Yak Gotti. Yak Gotti also gave a previous statement to police in one of 2 interviews that were used to indict another YSL member with conspiracy to commit murder. It's now known that members of Inglewood family Bloods have been targeted by police, and Tay has willingly cooperated. And it's crazy to think that from Inglewood family's perspective, it was Lil Woody who started the war after getting Nut killed.
Damn.
But from YSL's point of view, Nut was only killed after Woody was attacked and damn near robbed in a club by Inglewood family. In the end, Woody would snitch on Inglewood family and his own gang who was willing to go to war behind him. So for Young Thug, it sounds like too many members of his own gang, never mind the other gang,
For real, bro.
have
You
given
got too
statements and
many niggas,
identified
bro.
him as the one who orchestrated the murder of Peanut and saw it through, as they've identified him as being in the area before and after the murder. With time, I'm sure even more statements will break the internet, as Lil Woody has been in paperwork dating back to 2016, and it's only just now coming to light. But with the pressure of these new indictments being applied, more members will be tempted to come forward. At this time, YSL's biggest snitch, Lil Woody, is an inmate within the Georgia State prison system after a plea deal for a drug conviction sentenced him to 15 years with 3 years to be served in prison and 12 years on probation. Lil Woody has not been indicted in the YSL takedown, and his earliest prison release date is August of 2023.
Wow.
Man, the amount of snitching in this case, given my honest opinion, Young Thug's freedom might be a thing of the past. I'm not trying to speak negatively.
Yeah.
I'm not biased in this situation. I'm
But-
taking into account the amount of evidence they already have,
Yeah.
the amount